Welcome to the OC Politics Show, keeping politics bipartisan, local, and on the level.
I'm Joe Matthews.
This is Todd DeVoe.
Todd, it's October, so surprise! October surprises.
Oh, no, wait, that's finances.
Right? We'll do inverted. Okay. Election day approaches with less than 16 days to go. Heading down to the final lap, you do not want any surprises. Missing or unaccounted drop boxes. Can Supervisor Andrew Do stay out of trouble for all the right ethical reasons? The city of Orange, for the first time, is voting by district. A new mayor for Irvine, 3 challengers, want a crack at it. Surprises around the corner. And now, the political whip around.
Welcome to the OC Politics.
There it is. Yes. Yes, ma'am. May I have another?
3 challenge Irvine mayor for seat in November 3rd election.
Orange County in the midst of an unprecedented election mail-in ballot wave.
Orange City Council and mayor candidates weigh in for city's first district elections. And the DA receives residency fraud complaint against Orange County Supervisor Andrew Do. So, Joseph.
Yes, sir.
The 3 challenge Irvine mayor for the seat in November 3rd election. So, looks like that race is crowded, huh?
For a mayor's race, yes, unless you're in Santa Ana, which has 5.
Well, that's a whole different story.
Mm-hmm. So
but,
it's 4 people, 3 challengers.
Right, 4 people, 3 challengers. Yeah, well, Santa Ana just doesn't have anybody. I mean, they don't have an incumbent, so that's always the Wild West when that thing happens. But it seems like Irvine has some financial issues with the coronavirus pandemic, and some layoffs, businesses closing, and stuff like that. And so it looks like some people want to shake things up over in Irvine, and it sounds like there's some financial issues that are going on there. And obviously we had the story of the city council member who was using city funds for evidently sending out personal mailers, but I don't know if that was a ethical thing or if just the guy didn't know what he was doing and just because he's a new guy. But it looks like they were wanting the city to become more business friendly, according to a few of the people that are running. Small cities, now Irvine's not necessarily a small city landmass wise, but it's definitely not like LA City, right? Their elections seem to be are always more personal and really issue driven. When it comes to this, it sounds like I didn't realize that Irvine was having such an issue on the economy. What's going on down there?
I have no idea. It seems like the always comes in with the #1 livable city in the United States all the time. On the surface, it seems very clean and perfect and Disneyland-like.
Yeah, and what happens on the surface, right? There's always the undertow of things that are happening in places like that. But it also looks like that they're having an issue with affordable housing down there. That is a very expensive city to live in. You're seeing but they're building like crazy, out into the hillside of Irvine. Just everything, but they're just building high density housing and stuff. Is that going to change the political landscape of Irvine?
I don't know. I mean, it's a toss up between those candidates. I don't know if it's going to make much of a difference. I mean, we're all in this economic crap right now. I don't know if a mayor is a messiah that can change all that.
Yeah, it looks like everybody's looking for that particular candidate, and we're going to get into my second story here a little bit later. But I'll talk about districts and see how that actually changes things up. But I know you wanted to talk about the mail-in ballots.
Yeah, it's kind of a phenomenon right now for Orange County. Right now, there's 129,000 county residents who have already casted their mail-in ballots ahead of the election day so far. And compare that to roughly 62,000 ballots returned 4 days ago and 5 days after the county had sent out mailers to all the counties, more than 1.7 million county registers. Yet then, Orange County Register of Voters Ned Kelly noted on Twitter that it's already a whopping 451 increase percentage-wise compared
Wow.
to 2016. So it's pretty amazing.
Well, I mean, part of it's because that's what we have to do now, right? I mean, the state
Right.
of California said that we are a mail, excuse me, a mail-in ballot state. So I mean, that would make sense that the numbers go up. But what I find interesting about those numbers is if this is just for Orange County, which is the smallest county in the state, well, geographic wise, 3.5 million people live here. It looks like only 1 million are registered to vote, which is actually says a lot. And then
1.7. Yeah.
right, but still, I mean, 3.5 million and only 1.7 are registered. That's not even that's a third basically of the population that's voting. That's an interesting statistic, to be honest with you. Well,
Yeah.
I guess there's a bunch of people here that can't vote for various different reasons, such as being underage and whatnot. So I guess I don't know the number of legal registered aged or legal aged voters that they are potential voters. Well, I can't even get that out of my brain right now. People who are legally allowed to vote. How many of them are actually registered to vote? I'm interested about that. But that being said, how are those going to be processed? So and I don't know what the rules are. I should have looked this up before I asked this question of you. But I mean, like, do they start processing the ballots as soon as they get them, or do they wait till November 3rd to process those ballots? Like, are they already counting the elections?
I
Or the
don't
ballots,
know.
I mean?
I couldn't tell you. They're just collecting them right now. I would think they would be just for the sheer volume of people that they would be collecting. But that's a secret club, right? That you're in a cave and no one else knows what the elections are, and you can't. Everyone's sworn to secrecy and all that stuff.
Right.
So I don't know. It's
did you fill in your did you fill in your ballot? Yeah.
Well, ironically, my daughter and my wife got their ballots, and I was supposed to get mine. And I called, and I said I didn't get a ballot, and they said, "Oh, we'll send you one Friday." And then Friday went by, and then Saturday went by, and then I called on Tuesday, and they're like, "Oh, we never got a request for the first," So they never got a request for the first.
They're suppressing the vote. They're suppressing the Orange County Register's Office. They are suppressing the white middle-aged man vote, and we need to do something about that.
That's right.
We need to protest.
The chicks got they got their paperwork, but hopefully he says this Friday I'll get mine. If not, I'm gonna have to wait until mine.
Well, Joe, if you don't get yours, we will start the right to vote campaign for middle-aged white males.
There you go. Thank you, Tyler.
Right.
Thank you for the support. Thank you.
I voted though. Just that ballot though. I don't it's not like a Scantron. You know what I mean? Like we're like the old ways or whatever. I'm not sure how it processes. There's like some barcodes on it, but it's not like a. Producer Brian, I know you're over there. Did you vote yet?
I have not dropped it off yet.
But you looked at the ballot, right?
Yes.
Do you see how they could process it? Like what do you think? Is there like do they scan the whole entire sheet? Like, I don't understand how that works.
Yeah, above my pay grade.
It kind of blows my mind a little bit. Speaking of, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, as of Tuesday, roughly 100,000 of the 29 early return ballots came in through the mail, ironically. and about 28,000 came in through mail-in drop-off boxes, and less than 100 came in through the registrar's office. Now, there's been recent reports about the California Republican Party's self-proclaimed ballot harvesting program, which is collecting ballots through unofficial ballot boxes, and that action has been declared unlawful by state officials.
Of course.
No surprise there. And has prompted an investigation by Orange County District Attorney Todd Spitzer's office. Now, most of the ballots so far have been returned by registered Democrats. As of October 13, Democrats made up 49,291 ballots. Republicans made up 28,507 ballots. And maybe here's your libertarians with the no preference voter, 20,009. So almost just as much as the Republicans. And we're still 16 days out.
I'm one of those 20,009. Maybe I'm the number 9. Maybe I'm like the last guy to put their ballot in. But yeah, I know. I find it interesting. I don't know. Yeah, it's interesting to see that the political gamesmanship that's going to come out of the mail-in ballot. Because I mean, realistically, if you have, I don't know if it's illegal now because Democrats did last time.
Yeah,
where they had a good ground game and they went door to door to all of their registered Democrats, especially the older ones, and they were like, "Hey, give me your ballot and I'll take it for you." I remember when I was in New York as a young man, and we would do shuttles, right? We ran a shuttle service, and we would go pick up people and bring them to the we'd pick up people and bring them to the polling place, and that was deemed illegal at one point. After it was done. So that, and so the Democrats last time, 2016, or 2018, I mean, they went door to door ballot harvesting, and the Republicans lost their mind on that, right? They're like, hey, I can't do that. And it wasn't illegal, right? I mean, it's absolutely within their ability to do so. And and like I tell, this is the thing, people, that with politics, it's not just about going out there and voting for your candidate. I mean, there are strategies. It's like war. It is like war. I mean, they literally call it the war room, right? And they have, your boards up there, and what districts do you think you can win, and what districts do you think you can't win, and then you put your people into those areas, and it's a lot of cool stuff. So I don't know. It's just interesting times.
Well, the state GOP released the following statement over the weekend amidst the outcry. Now, listen to this. I think this is kind of interesting. In California, where you can have convicted felons and individuals with a criminal history go door to door and collect ballots from voters, Democrats are now upset because organizations, individuals, and groups are offering an opportunity for their friends and family and patrons to drop off their ballot with someone they know and trust.
See, yeah. Yay.
Well, Democratic Party, Ida Briseno is excited because these early Democratic turn-ins are what they've been promoting all along. Now Kelly finally says that when he was asked if this is going to break any records, he says, "Yep, my gut reaction is yes, but with 16 days to go, I don't know whether the trend lies or where it goes. We're going to see a dip in coming days and weeks on the same level consistent to Election Day." So that's the update of the ballot boxes.
The ballot boxes. Well, interesting enough about ballot boxes and whatnot. The Orange City, right? So the city council and the mayor candidates are going to do districts, and you're going to see every city in California is going to go to districts, and the reason being is, and I understand the argument. I disagree with part of it, and what they're saying, what the argument is that without districts, minority candidates won't win. And I'm like,
Yeah.
I part of me says, wow, that means that the minority, I just, it's like, okay, that means that the minority candidates that are running, are not making their case specifically to be elected for that particular seat. And, you know, I don't know. I mean, that's kind of my gut is like, hey, what do you mean? Like, so I would say, hey, you know what? There aren't any libertarian city council members on my count, and there's a big enclave of libertarians. Should we cut that out because of political, like it's for political purposes, like to get that person in, or and it goes back into the concept of gerrymandering too, of districts to what they did to what the Democrats did to the Republicans over on the west side of the county, where Rossmore was cut out of a district and put into Long Beach, and so all those Republicans that are in Rossmore now have no voice. So there's like that stuff that goes on with districting, and that's my only concern about it is how do you cut that district out? You know what I mean? And so that's the whole reason why they started doing districts. I know that, they did that in the city that I came from in Whittier. When I was living there, we created districts, and the problem over there, what they're saying is, and I also get this part of it too, right? And let me go on the other side of the coin here, is that people on the west side of Whittier felt that they weren't being represented because most of the people who were on the city council lived on the east side of Whittier because, that's just where the money was, right?
And they were all white.
Yeah, but that doesn't. At the end of the day, that really shouldn't matter. Who's they're all white on the city council, or all whatever, right? Because the thing is you go out and you have the opportunity.
I said, not if you're a minority. You look at the castle up on the hill, thinking, why can't I get up there?
Have a better campaign.
Okay.
Don't be a single issue candidate.
I didn't say I was.
What?
I didn't say I was.
No, I'm not saying that you are, but I'm saying like the candidates that if you lived on the east side of town, right, and you felt that you deserved to be on city council because you had great ideas, right, and instead of focusing on everything that's on the east side of town, go knock on doors on the west side or on the west side of town. You know what I mean? And knock on those doors as well and say, hey, this is why I should be your city council member. And there's what I think with districts is, and I think with districts when you go into it, is that it could. I don't say it does it every single time. I'm not putting this blanket statement out, but you're going to have like, I'm representative. I'm looking at a district map right now. I'm representative District 6 of the city of Orange. I don't give a crap what happens in District 2 because those people over there don't vote for me. So F them, right? I'm going to do everything I can do to make sure District 6 is taken care of. And I want all the money and everything to go to District 6. I don't give a crap about the roads in District 2 because they don't vote for me. You know what I mean? Instead of looking at the city as a complete city and going, yeah, we need to help with commerce in District 2 and roads and stuff like that, as well as District 6, it just seems to me the potential of polarizing your entire city, and that's my only concern about it. And when you run for city council, if when you run for now looking at the city of Orange, when you're running for city council in District 2, all you care about is District 2. Whatever color you are. I don't know. I don't even know what the racial makeup of Orange, of the city of Orange is. Look at this district map, right? But I mean, so the idea behind it is to get minorities on the city council, and does it? I don't know. Does it do it? Does it take that concept of putting minorities on city council? And does it do more harm to the city by breaking the city up in districts? That's just sort of my soapbox on districts. I can see both sides of the argument. I'm kind of being devil's advocate here a little bit. But districts in general could could potentially do more harm for a city than not, because then you're pitting people against people, districts against districts. You see this happen in New York City with the wards, right? They don't call them districts in New York City; they call them wards. You know, so anyway, that's just my opinion on districts. You know, good luck everybody out there.
I just can't imagine LA City being done by at-large elections. I think it'd be chaos.
Well,
when it's that
yeah.
big, when they're that big, I guess it all depends on the size of the city. I mean, Orange is a small city compared to, say, LA, but
True.
They use a district system. It's about representation, and I don't know. You bring up a good point, Todd.
No, and I think you're right. I mean, like LA City, New York City, these were tens of millions of people are living in these places. It makes sense a little bit more to have districts, because they're distinct neighborhoods for sure. You know what I mean? I mean, like a district in LA City is bigger than the city of Orange.
Yeah.
You know, and they're distinct neighborhoods. So I like I said, a little bit of this, what I was saying is devil's advocate. You know, I understand. I'm not against districts necessarily, so don't take that for what I said. But I'm saying some of the reasoning behind it doesn't make sense to me. It's like my team didn't win the Super Bowl, so now we're going to create another Super Bowl so my team could be the winner. You know?
Oh.
I mean, put better candidates up that are, you know. I mean, I don't know. I mean, we're you know, politics is becoming, well, it's becoming, I guess it's always been a dirty sport. But at the end of the day, we're becoming super polarized right now as a nation necessarily. I mean, I was looking at some stuff over the weekend where a group of 10 people protesting Twitter, they're conservative, they're protesting Twitter. One of the guys is an African-American man who organized this thing, and he's standing up on the stage talking about how Twitter needs to be more fair and allow things, and people start chucking, you know, stuff at him. A physical altercation came in. Somebody punched him in the mouth, broke his teeth. It's a picture of him all bloody. They attacked another guy that was wearing a Support Trump shirt, beat the crap out of that guy. You know, it's like, wow, we can't, we're at a point now where we can't have a disagreement on politics, on policy, without it starting to get physical. And it's also to the point to where people are starting to use the hate terms, right? What I mean by that, and I'm not saying like, oh, using the hate word, right? I mean, they're literally not friends with people who they've been friends with for years, not going to family events, nothing. They're not talking to them because they're on the opposite party, right? They're like, oh, you know, my Uncle Joe, he's a Republican. I'm not going to talk to him ever again because I'm a Democrat, you know? And yeah, I mean, it
feels like a civil war.
It does. It really does. I was listening to a guy the other day. I have to look it up because I want to give him credit. There's a podcast that I listen to, and it's called the Thought Project. And let me look it up. This is great radio, right? As I'm sitting here, the Free Thoughts is what the name of is the name of the show. And okay, bad TV. Anyway, there was they had an author on here who wrote a book specifically talking about how we are becoming, we're not even becoming, we are. And he goes back into history, right? He talks about, you know, 1961 could be 1861, what was going on there. And part of what he was saying is that in the 1860s, our press, we talk about how our press is like, for, you know, they're the fake news or you know, the Fox News is in bed with the president, and CNN is in, you know, a completely, you know, the fifth state or whatever, all this kind of craziness that's going on. Well, that was the same stuff that was happening in 1861. and that realistically, he makes an argument that the press at that point actually helped perpetuate the Civil War, right? Because they were partisan, they weren't writing factual stuff necessarily. They were writing stuff that fit their narrative, right? We talk about this a lot. And that the press in 1861 helped perpetuate Civil War. And is the press today help and perpetuate this divide between our nation, right? Because if you go into, the coffee shop and you hear people talking about, I support Donald Trump, next thing you know, that coffee shop is being protested, we're doxing people, and we're the cancel culture, right? On the left, and you start to see that the right is now doing cancel culture stuff, canceling stuff, right? Like, oh, I don't like Joe Matthews, so I'm going to make sure he can never work again, and I'm going to, go to his children's schools and let all of his kids, all of his parents know that Joe Matthews supports Donald Trump, which he doesn't, by the way. I don't know if he does or not. But just let you know, don't start doxing Joe, because I said that.
I didn't get a ticket to the big party this weekend.
That's true. You haven't even voted yet. So
that's right. So my mind hasn't been made up yet. Just kidding.
Joe, vote for Joe Jurgensen, Joe. That's who I voted for.
That's right.
I will come out specifically say I voted for Joe Jurgensen. But I mean, the point is on all this craziness is that, it used to be that, Joe and I could belong to the same country club and go golfing together and have complete different political views, and we would still, smoke a cigar and drink a cognac or whatever they do at country clubs. I never belonged to a country club, but just and today, there's you only golf with your same political affiliation, I suppose. And how does that make you grow as a human being, or how does that make you grow? I actually like to have people who disagree with me on my politics, because it makes me think about my positions better and argue stronger for them. Or maybe I change my mind sometimes. There's nothing wrong with changing your mind on positions. But I don't know. It's just, but I see, going back to districts again, I see that as potentially being this of creating cities, and that would be divided like that. But speaking of divided, Joe.
Yeah.
So what's going on with your buddy Andrew Do?
Well, he ain't my buddy, but I like talking about him because he's so freaking interesting. He's always on the watch list, that guy, Andrew Do.
Dun, dun, dun. Where's our producer?
He's always on the watch list, that guy, Andrew Do. Okay, next time. So Andrew Do, last week, like this guy has gotten a felony a week, basically, for the month of October. Last week, I just reported that he was money laundering through the Republican Party. Can you believe that? Did you miss that? Did you hear about that?
Oh
yeah.
My gosh.
Yeah. So he gives 28 grand from his controlled account, gives it to the Republican. They wash it and give him back 23,000 for his campaign. So the Republican Party and Do are going down. So this time around, it's about, surprise, his residency. A second complaint, felony residency fraud, has been filed against Orange County Supervisor Andrew Do. And this time it's being sent to Orange County District Attorney Todd Spitzer, who, I'm trying to figure that Todd Spitzer ain't going to have much time for the holidays. He's going to be busy. This guy, every time we go in, another investigation for old Todd Spitzer.
Oh, good
now,
Lord.
The complaint was filed late September, and has similar allegations to the one filed the month prior with the state attorney's office. Both claim Do has been illegally living outside the Central County district he represents.
Wait,
now, Do is a former.
Is Do an illegal alien?
No. In supervisor terms, yes. Do
humans can't be illegal.
That's right.
Sorry,
I disagree. Do is a former prosecutor and hasn't commented about these allegations. Now, he's a former prosecutor, and this guy has more felonies in the last month than I did. Just kidding. Anyway, District Attorney Todd Spitzer, Doe's former colleague as a county supervisor, declined to say if DA's office is following up on the complaint. Both complaints say Doe has been living at home with he and his wife, who own.
Wait. The complaint says that he's been living with his wife?
Yes. How crazy is that?
Wow.
He's been living at home in the 3rd district, despite as the 1st district elected official supervisor, and stating the election paperwork that he lives in a smaller home with the family that he owns in the 1st district. So let me quote you a little something from the complaint. It clearly seems to be one of the worst kept secrets among anybody that knows or works with Supervisor Doe, including his fellow supervisors, that Doe and his wife, Orange County Supervisor Court Judge Cherry T. Pham, live together in a much larger and much nicer single-family residency that they own in North Tustin, which is not located in the 1st district boundaries, but in the 3rd district, which already has an elected supervisor, Donald P. Wagner, former mayor of Irvine.
See, that's what I'm talking about. Districts cause problems.
So,
okay. District causes problem for Andrew Do for sure. That's
yeah, he's been caught before. In 2015, former Tony Rakakis investigated and found nothing wrong. This is what's different this time is that someone was actually camping out in front of the house and watching the traffic and comparing the two homes, and that's why they refiled and the complaint was filed.
How much money or time does somebody have to sit there and watch somebody's house? I'm sure they hired like a private investigator to do it, but
or the opposition.
The opposition. That's what I'm talking about.
Gutierrez, I think it's Sergio Gutierrez. Maybe he has a friend who spent the time watching and waiting. And gotcha. October surprise, gotcha. So that's
I'll do all my own. Yeah. I'm now going to do all my own sound effects. So, okay. Dun dun dun. No. Anyway, everybody, we're trying to have fun here a little bit because politics in general. Sometimes it's not necessarily the most exciting topic at times. Joe's falling asleep over here on his own show, and it's also, but it's something that we need to take a little bit light sometimes because it could like really burn us out. And I'm going to say one thing here, Joe. I'm going to do a little monologue, if you will. Everybody, we talk about politics here, and to be honest with you, Joe and I are realistically on the opposite side of a coin on our beliefs, and we're still good friends. We've been friends for over 20 years, and we don't necessarily agree on everything on the politics, but we do not allow this to divide us as friends. And I think that we need to just take a step back and look at who humans are and who people are in their heart, and not because you believe differently from me than in politics does not make you an evil person. Whether you're Republican or Democrat or independent like I am, you should really take a look at the person as a whole and who they are, and not at just who they put on the little checkbox inside the ballot box. But anyway, that's just my thing. I see us going down a path that's negative, and I hope that we can return to civility. Maybe we can't, and I'm just a pipe dream. And tell me as a young people out there could tell me as an old man to shut my mouth and just whatever. But that's just my take on it. I really hope that I really hope that we could all just can't we all just get along, as somebody once famously said, Rodney King. Anyway, everybody, thank you so much for being here with us today. I really do appreciate it. I want to thank my co-host Joe Matthews, producer Brian, and everybody. Follow us on your favorite podcast player. Follow us on Facebook, YouTube, and we'll see you guys all next week. And remember, stay vigilant, stay focused, vote local.